and welcome back to Jim Builds. And this is something that I've talked about a lot because it's the only thing that really lets this engine down, is that the amount of oil it loses. And typically it's coming from the rear oil seal, mainly because it's held to, the rear oil seal is made of like old shoelaces. It's terrible. And the intention is to use something that which is a lip seal from a later crossflow, but the problem is this doesn't fit over the current crank. But before I get on with this, I'm going to introduce you to stump block, which you would have seen previously on the gearbox episodes, but I actually filmed this back in October before I start the gearbox, so I'm going to do a bit of jumping around. Anyway, introduce stump block.
Starting with the block, this is a 120E standard 1500 block, same as you get in the 1500 or the GT. Overboard plus 30. I imagine that it's going to need a rebore, but it's not going to be as severe as the one that's already on the Cortina already, which is at plus 90. And the crankshaft, I've had it ground. This is the first grind it's had, so it's only 10 thou taken off it. It looks really good. That was done recently. I've got some fresh bearings. The caps I've cleaned, but I do have some steel caps that will go on eventually. But for the minute, this is just a case of getting this assembled so I can start looking at the oil seal. The only thing we're not going to fit when we do this, normally you'd put the back plate on, which is down here. So this back plate is the original, and you can see that's the channel that the rope seal goes in. So you'd fit that before, once you've put the bearings in, and this will go on with the seal in. Then you put the crankshaft in and carry on. But we're not doing that because this is terrible. Right, that explained. Let's get to it. So this is the standard crossflow oil lip seal holder thingy. So the seal will go on the inside of this. Unfortunately I can't do that because this won't fit. So to get around that, what we've made is this, and I'm sorry I've lost the footage of when we made it, because it wasn't made by myself, it was made by a friend of mine. What he has done is turned the inside of this out, so you can see that, as we're playing spot the difference, that's now gone. It's been bored out slightly, and then we've made this piece. Oh, this face was then machined back, and then we've got this piece here, which will take the new lip seal. Now if I come around here, that now fits very nicely over, and then the lip seal will go in here. So it's got, the lip seal will be on the outside, which is how it is on a lot of more modern engines anyway, so it's not, there's nothing wrong with that. And then this has been bonded in,
using some really strong aerospace-y stuff that I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, that's the lip seal. Now what I'm going to do is get this together and show you what it looks like back on the engine. So I meant to say this sump is from a 1200 pre-crossflow, so like angliers and things like that. Reason for that is it was cheap. I only picked this up for like 20 quid. It's a sump that's not really used that often, mainly because it's slightly smaller capacity than the 1500. So I'll show you in a sec, but the 1500's got like a winged section at the front for a bit more oil. The baffles are different inside. Although this one's already been modified, which I'm going to show you in a minute. I could use a crossflow sump, but I don't have one. I certainly don't have a front bowl crossflow sump, which would have been ideal, but they're so few and far between. I'd have spent ages waiting and still not found one. So that's why I've decided to chop one up, because let's be honest, no one's really interested in these, and if this works in theory, then I can figure out how to make something a bit better later on for the 1500 and stuff that I want to do with stump block in the future. So let's get modifying the sump.
All right, bit of tapping. It's not got a tiny. It seems to be pretty well sealed. Can't see anything around the edge that would let any light in. Tiny bit on the corners, which I was expecting. I'm going to try and put a bit of heat to that as well in a second. What I'm going to do is dress this edge so it's concave and it's going to go into this. So I think cold. I'm just going to run a tap across it with the old hammer, and that'll expose this a little bit, just enough so I know where to go. Then I'll grab the torch, give it heat, and that way I'll get. Let me think. If I heat it, I won't need to hit it as much, and it's going to give me a nice smooth line. Yeah, it'll make more sense when I show you in a second when I do it, and then I can start trimming it, because this is going to start pulling in all sorts of ways. So what I want to do is get all the shaping done with the hammer, and then I can trim all this excess off. Yeah, I've got a little bit on the inside, which I'm tempted to keep that for the minute. The outside edge we will cut back, and then we've got some shaping to do here. But I'm going to go get some fire. Right, I've fitted it up, and it fits really well. I've actually cut the lip returns off I made here. They didn't look great, and they were pulling it in all sorts of directions. So I think when I've joined these pieces together, I'll make a lip and I'll tack weld it very carefully. I might even double skin this piece as well, just to give it a bit of rigidity. Excuse me. Same on this side. Now I've marked up here, so you can see what I mean about this angle. So if I cut it there, I can then make a piece. I think first off, if I make the flange that comes around here, put a 90 degree in that to replace this piece here, same on this side. So I'll put a 90 up, trim it to here, to around here, and then we'll make a piece that then fills in that central bit. So I think it's going to be cut the sump, sort the flange, and then start plating up. But so far I am really happy. That seems to have sealed. I can't see any issues behind here. Everything looks really good. Right, so I've put a load of tape on here, and as you can see I've marked out where the line needs to be. So what I need to do now is carefully remove this, put it on some card, and then I can cut out some steel. And we can get that tacked in and everything should be fine. So yeah, that's kind of it. I think it's going to work. I mean, yeah, it's going to work. It's going to be fine. It's going to be brilliant. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So it's been a while since I've been on this, mainly because I've been distracted with the gearbox, but I have been doing other bits. That's all welded in. I've put these pieces on from the original sump, so they will hold that down, and I'm going to use cap head fasteners for all of this, mainly because, particularly with these, you can tighten them up with the sump when the engine's in place. That's the idea. And then I thought I might as well do the rest because it looks cool. But yeah, because getting a socket in that gap is always really hard. So I think I might have better luck if it's an Allen key instead. So I've got a couple of bits to sort here because that gap is a bit tight, but I'll come on to that in a second. But yeah, it's all welded. I have checked. It does hold thinners, which is a bit of a cautious thing to do. I mean, it's not the best looking welds, but it worked for the prototype. But yeah, I'll come on to what is next now. So as you can see, one problem I'm going to have because of this new seal carrier is that it's blinding that hole there. If I put that in front, you can just about make it out. It's not going to be ideal. What I am going to do, instead of using bolts, is a stud that will go in here and then put a nut in. It's just going to be a bit awkward. I'll have to get the seal part way on, sorry, the housing part way on, and a nut in that started, so I can actually then get the thing tightened up. That's my prototype, and it seemed to work okay. Right, so that's one made, and because I jumped ahead, there's the other. I only need two. They've come out pretty well to say I've done them by hand. Threads are tidy, a little bit of scratching there because I had to support in the vise, but I'm not too fussed on that. So I'll get those fitted in. We're only doing this on stump block anyway, so it's not like I need that bolting in properly. But yeah, that's that job done, and I think for now that is everything. So it's been a bit all over the place, this one, but I think I'm now at a point where I've got the sump to tidy up and paint, which is going to be pretty dull and not take me very long. But everything's made and everything's in place, ready to go on the actual block. So I'm waiting on some fresh gaskets because
I want to put some brand new ones in. The others have been on and off a few times. So I hope you find it interesting, and please don't tell me how terrible my welding is, because I already know. And hopefully this works, and we'll give it a try soon, and fingers crossed it holds its oil. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.